I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but he's recorded a 48-minute video just to find out that it's not even recording. You know. Basically, we left off where Izuku. Basically, Izuku, he says, he was like, no, he got to Earth. Yeah, that's where we left him. He got to Earth, and he's walking to UA, cause he's furious. He's furious that he's furious that Eri and I forgot her name. That Eri and that Eri. He's mad that Eri and he's just mad and fears that Eri and his girlfriend Mira, that's her name. I'm trying to find her name. Couldn't even find out that Eri and Mira forgot who they were. And he just walking. And he walks to you and he knocks on the door. A couple seconds later, whatchamacallit walks in there. What's his name? A new principal. Yeah. A new principal walks in there. He says, "No way." And he says, "What do you know?" And Izuku, he says, "You're Izuku Midoriya." And he says, "Yeah, so what?" And he says, "So what?" He says, "Kid, the history books." And Izuku says, "We're learning about you now." And he says, "Okay, could I stay here till I get my life settled?" When Izuku, he says, he could have said, the principal says, "Yeah, of course. It'll be an honor, sir." And Izuku says, "Don't talk to me. Just talk to me like I'm a regular human." And he says, okay. And basically Izuku, he gets in there and he's just like, he says, "Can I have my own door, my old door back?" And he says, let me find out. And he says, "What was your old dorm number?" And he said 307. After he said 307, the principal said, "Oh, 307. Well, there's a girl already in there." And he says, "And we kind of have a policy. Where it's a girl and a girl and a boy and a boy. So we might not." He says he makes $10,000 and says, "Would this be enough?" And the principal says, "I'm trying to let you stay anyway, but yeah, I'll take it." And he takes the money. He gives Izuku the key to his room. It's his old room. And Izuku, he starts walking to his dorm. And he gets to his dorm. And he opens the door. And after he opens the door,
she had a broken leg, so he's been fix-it spell, and now she's alive.
Basically, yeah.
Let's have ice cream and go to a roller disco dance party. Yay!
No parties.
Basically,
We need to turn her back into a doll.
No, I don't want to go back. It's so boring. I want to have
Yeah, basically, Izuku, he walks in.
Dance party.
Basically, Izuku,
Wait to undo this.
Izuku, he just walks in there. He unlocks the door, and this is the girl. This is her. And you want to say that she's doing some work, and she says, who are you? And she opens the door, and he says, I'm your new roommate, and she says, there is no, like, we have a policy that, she says, we have a policy that there's no girls, or there's no girls with boys. And he says, yeah, whatever. He says, whatever. I just gave the principal $10,000. So, well, he says, yeah, well, you can go ask the principal. And she says, okay, as she hears a knock on her door. And Izuku answers it, or he looks at her, and she says, so you're not going to answer the door, huh? And she opens the door, and she opens the door, and she sees the principal, and she says, oh, hi, Mr. Johnson. And he says, hi, Mia. I would like to tell you that Izuku is going to be a new roommate. Yeah, that's all I have to say. So, bye. And he leaves and she says, oh, well, okay. I guess you are my roommate. And in her head, she like, oh no. She says, hey, my name is Mia. And he says, I know. And she says, your name is Mizuku. And he says, yeah, it is. And she looked at him and said, why do you have to be so rude like that? And after she said rude like that, Izuku says, he gets closer, he body flickers to her face and says, you want me to be nice? And she blushes, she blushes like super hard. And she says, back up. And he says, what are you talking about? I'm right here. And she says, but you were just in front of me. And he said, you must be daydreaming. She says, no, you were just in front of me. And basically after she said that, basically after she said that,
Okay, come in.
basically after she said that,
I'm Debbie Dazzle. What's your name?
Or the roaster, our money, our dog, your nader, your master, or Batman.
basically, yeah.
Why are you here all alone?
And
Oh, our money. Nobody wants
I know the feeling. How about we get out of here and have some fun?
and basically,
Jake's out like a light.
Great.
basically Izuku, Izuku says,
Hey, Sarah.
he says,
Great, we made cupcakes. I promised Jane that you guys would both go up and give her a kiss as soon as you got home. Okay.
yeah, and Izuku
Thanks.
says,
Have a good night.
Yeah, good night.
yeah, Izuku says, he says, man, well, he chuckles and says, he chuckles, and she says, that's not funny. And after she says that's not funny, he says,
Still in town. Let's go.
after she says that,
Oh,
she says that basically Izuku.
I just realized you probably can't fly, so you want to lift?
Yeah, basically Izuku.
You think her batteries are blown up by now? Probably, but I should
Izuku basically says, well, they say, well,
Is it too much to hope that
he says, after she says, you chuck, that's not funny, Izuku says,
what's wrong?
it's okay. He says, yeah, you're right. And
Full charge.
after he says that, he says, yeah, I got a plan for this. He says, you might want to get back to, or no, after that happened, they go to sleep. They'll actually wiped all the details. They went to sleep.
I gotta go.
Okay, they went to sleep.
Okay. Here's your lunch.
Where's Mom?
Sleeping in.
Oh, there's a smiley face in the bed.
Does Mom pack your candy and soda?
Basically,
See my way?
basically, yeah, they go to sleep, and then when they get, okay, they go to sleep, and then when they get up, she's like, I don't want to sleep.
Debbie's coming back, right?
And she says, no, Izuku. Or no, she says, I don't want to get bullied again.
Oh, that's your good news.
And a tear drops from my eye, and she says,
Sure that I found the right spell.
it doesn't matter.
Let's do it.
And Izuku,
How Jane pronounced
basically, they get up, they go to class, get dressed. He gives her a tour because he haven't been there so long. And
They should revert back to normal once the spell's been reversed.
they change the little things
All I
around.
have to do is find a life-size killer fashion dollar. Bring it down. No problem. Have you talked to Roy? Yeah. Sent me a text saying he was busy hanging out with his new girlfriend.
Basically,
He's mad that we didn't let him in. Or he actually has a girlfriend.
and basically, yeah.
What's wrong? Never seen a girl with a hot guy before?
Do you know anyone who can fix a broken toy?
And basically,
Send stuff back to the manufacturer. You know, the person that made it.
Yes, of course. The maker. You know lots of stuff. I like you.
And yeah, basically, they get up, give it a tour, and he gets,
What's that? It sounds fun.
Shouldn't I these keys? You, get the class. Now.
and
Now, young lady, let's get you straight to class. Are you alright?
I will be.
she says, she says, well, no, I got it. They walk into the classroom, and Izuku, he sits all the way back in the far corner, and the bully comes up and says, he slaps, Mina, and he says, shut the hell up, you brat. And she says, but I didn't say anything. And he punches her. He says, what did I tell you? Shut up. And Izuku, he body flickers over her. And he says, hey, bro. Don't talk to a lady like that. And
All the hottest girls are. Rory, get this through your
he says, you don't put your hands on a lady. Or you don't talk to them that way. And
There's my girl. How'd it go with Principal Hicks?
Oh, him. He was such a doll.
basically,
Hi, guys. Did you miss me? Jumpy much?
Flesh.
basically,
With an 8 points of articulation, all things I intend to keep. Thank you. Come with us, Debbie. Over my undead body.
basically,
She's dangerous. So am I. So, back off.
basically Izuku, he's like,
Sarah. So it's settled. You okay,
basically
baby?
Izuku.
Sorry, plastic.
Izuku is like,
What? No, I never.
Come on. She's got
and he says, no, the bully says, he says, shut the hell up, you brat. You're just weak. And he's about to throw a punch, and
and Spock want to fill me in on the little
when he throws the
mind
punch, Aizawa comes in and stops his quirk. And
Well, if it isn't
basically,
Superman.
after they stop his quirk,
And I promise it will dance
says,
with you.
"What are you doing, Aizawa?"
First, I need a
And he
teensy
says,
favor. Teensy favor like
after he,
what?
after he says, after he said that,
Well, hello, handsome.
Oh,
You silly. So, I was thinking, since we share the same taste in food, I might like to take you to dinner.
No, I don't think so.
Great. So just ditch the third wheel here and
yeah. So basically, he's
wait, what?
after he says something blah blah blah, sit down and stuff like that. Izuku, he said, whatchamacallit says, everybody get your history books. We're learning about Izuku Midoriya. And Mina looks back at Izuku, and he says, "Oh, looks like we have a new student. Tell me your name." And he says, "My name is Izuku Midoriya." And everybody's like, stop pretending your name is that Izuku Midoriya. You're not the guy from the history books. He'd be dead. Ah! And Izuku says, "Actually, I'm not dead." He says, "I'm not dead. Actually, I'm not dead. I'm pretty strong. And actually, most of this stuff is all false. I didn't go and slay 30 dragons." He says, "Aizawa, what is this?" And Aizawa says, "Wait, problem child?" And he says, "That's me." And he says, "Oh my god." And he says, "You really are him. You're Izuku." And everybody's like, "What the hell?" And the bully says, he walks up to him and he bows and says, "Sorry for hitting you, sir." And Izuku says, "Yeah, move on. Don't call me sir. Call me Izuku or something. It's weird." And he says, "Okay, Izuku." And basically, he's like a legend. Never everywhere. We skip. Yeah, now we'll skip. He's like legend. Everybody in the class trying to talk to him. All the girls trying to give him everything. And basically, Mina, he says, calm down, everyone. Aizawa says this.
4, 5, 6.
I love
Aizawa.
hide and seek. Can I play?
Stay away from Jade.
Aizawa.
Maybe. She can fix me. But that
Aizawa
doesn't mean
says,
she has fun first.
Aizawa says, oh my god. Aizawa says,
Jane,
Aizawa says,
I wanna play with you.
yeah, I got it. Aizawa says, everybody partner up on groups, we're gonna be reading. Or he says, no, actually, no. You're gonna read, he says, you're gonna be reading.
You okay?
And he says, no, you're gonna be reading, and you're gonna be making a project about Izuku. And whoever scores the highest doesn't have to do anything for a week. And they get every grade, they get 100. And everybody walks out and says, oh yeah, I'm passing this. And he says, I didn't say who passed. I said whoever got the highest grade. And he says, Izuku, you don't count. Your history would be all true since it's you anyway. And he chuckles and says, yeah, but can I have a partner? And he says, yeah. And all the girls and boys look at him, and they gonna run to him, and they say, hey, would you like him to be your partner? And the boys do the same thing. And he said, he gets up, he knows them all. He goes to Mina and he says, would you like to be my partner, Mina? Or Mira. I forgot, Mia. He says, would you like to be my partner, Mia? And she said, you want me to be a partner? No, you're just wasting your time. And he says, no, get up, come on.
What's your price?
And he says, no, get up, come on, we're going to the library to work on your project. And she says, really? And he says, yeah. And she gets up and just thanks Izuku. And he says, no problem, Mio. And she kisses him on the cheek, and Izuku, he blushes. And basically after she blushes, he says, and how's your face? And she says,
What are you doing here?
oh, it's fine. As she's in the bruised mark, and he says, follow me. As they walk into the, they get to the library, and he touches her face with both of his hands, and she starts blushing and looking away. And he says, I need you to look at me. He says, I need you to look at me. And basically, after he says that, she looks at him, and she starts blushing even harder. And he says, I'm going to heal your face. And basically, he starts healing her face. He starts healing her face. And basically, he heals her face, and she starts blushing mad hard. She starts blushing mad hard even more. And Izuku, he says, he's like, Izuku's like, okay. And he lets go of her face, and he says, it's done. And she says, he's like, she makes me really happy every time I see her face. I'm like, he says, as he says, I'm like, Mira, she cheated on me and forgot it. She said she cheated on me and forgot about me. And basically after he said that, he gets an angry expression on his face, and she touches his face, or she touches his hand and says, Izuku, are you alright? Look pretty bad. And after he says that, he says, yeah, I'm fine. He says, yeah, I'm fine. And he's like, he says, no, I'm fine. And he calms down, yeah. He calms down. And after he calms down, basically after he calms down,
What is this?
after he calms down, basically, Izuku basically says, alright, guys. Izuku basically says, I'm fine. I'm not mad. I'm just thinking about something. And she says, Izuku, I have a question. And he says, what is it? He says, do you have and he says, just say it. And she says, do you have a girlfriend? Because she's trying to ask him out, and he says, well, I had one. And she says, what do you mean, had? And he says, I told her that I was gonna go fight someone, and I defeated that person, and they forgot about me. And basically after that, I came back, and they had someone new, a new man. And she says, he says, oh yeah, sorry, I had a little girl too. Her name was Aries. She wasn't my little daughter, but I never thought of it that way. And Izuku says, no. After says, yeah, we had a girl,
Wondering whether the screen is working. She's standing right behind me now, isn't she? Later.
Hi, Ethan.
after she says,
I like your shirt.
Thanks. It's a small.
I'm super sorry about that one.
basically, yeah,
It was a
you know,
good one. Maybe you can still find a way to use it.
basically they just,
Yeah, about that. Can I trust you?
I don't know. I will find out.
basically,
I'm getting my hair done after school. Do you want to come?
Why did
basically Izuku, he,
vampires didn't even show up on film?
I know, but this would have been my first hot yearbook photo ever. The others were not the best photo of you. I don't care if nobody else can see it. I'll know I looked good. What about you?
basically Izuku, he's
Do you
like,
care?
he does his backstory and stuff, yeah.
This whole year.
And she says, sorry for you, Izuku.
I'll go just ask
And
you.
he says, why did you ask that? And she said,
What do you mean?
I was wanna,
You have got to stop hanging out with
gonna,
him. You're turning into the same person. Next
and
thing you know, you'll be
she
reading
says,
comic books and
I was
snorting
gonna
on
ask if I could, and he says, just say it.
Ask me if she can trust me.
And he says,
Can't you?
I was
I
gonna,
can't watch this happen.
I was,
Do something and probably knew she
he says, she says, Izuku, will you,
Just see what happens. Think of it as an experiment.
will you be my, will you be my, and she says, he says, be my what? And she says, will you be my, and he says, just say it. You don't have to hide it. And he says, will you be my boyfriend? And Izuku, his eyes get wide, and he says, sure.
When I say this,
And she opens her eyes, and
little weasel.
And then she started swearing.
after she says,
Some like double swears. She got pretty
after
creative.
she says,
Did she smile?
Kinda. And she thought I was gonna cry.
If she likes you.
How can she change so fast?
basically,
Too fast.
What's wrong?
Izuku,
That will be in the yearbook photo. Makes me realize how much has changed.
basically Izuku, she says, yeah. And he grabs her waist, and he starts kissing. And she says,
Nice to me and asked if
she says, in her mind, she's thinking we're moving super fast. But I really like him. And yeah.
Two sides to every girl.
And he says,
Heads, she's crazy. Tails,
let's erase the kiss. And he says, now we have to get working on this assignment. And she starts blushing and says, she says, she says, yeah, okay. And basically, Izuku, basically,
You're the girl from the photo. So are you. No, I'm Hannah Price.
basically,
So am I.
Izuku,
yeah.
basically, they blush, they get starts working on an assignment, and skip,
naturally nervous.
hour, they get back to class, and they're the first people to get back to class, and he said, I would suspect that, and he gives them a project, and he says, Izuku, what did you do on this paper? And he says, nothing.
And it was such a nice nerd shirt.
He says, I didn't do anything. I mostly just told her some details, and she caught along.
Just make Benny's the best.
And I told her all the false things. Well, I told her, he says, I told her,
More like red room.
Right. Time for a little revenge photo, princess. Courtesy of Thor Angerheart.
he says, I just told her,
Ethan? Can I talk to you?
Maybe? Will it hurt?
Never mind. I gotta go. On your way home, you
Basically,
see your buddy with the huge head?
Probably.
basically Izuku, after they get done with their project,
Maybe dating isn't such a good idea after all.
I'll call you tonight, okay?
after Izuku just get done with their project, basically,
I will not go nuts over this.
I forgot something.
My number?
No? This.
yeah, I got it. I'm just thinking. Izuku basically just, he basically just
Took a vision, but I finally understand a girl.
okay, I got it now. Basically, Izuku basically just
Somehow the evil part of Hannah became a whole other person.
he looks at
The other was a pile of anger
he looks at what's her name? Mia, yeah. Got it. He looks at Mia and then basically after he look at Mia, she looks at him and she looks down and starts blushing.
You're right.
And he says
But it's a Hector rebellion.
Aizawa sees this and he says, "Are you two dating?" And she blushes even harder.
You're right.
And he says, "Yeah, we are."
Some shoes on Breslow's.
And he says, "Okay, just making sure." You're like, "Okay." And
I'm gonna have to frame that one.
and basically after that, Izuku,
Nice work. I'll post up figure eight was the most evil of rope knots.
basically after that, Izuku,
And pay attention to the plan. We're gonna use this camera, make a whole bunch of new friends, and then turn
Izuku.
this town inside out.
Geek. Lose the attitude, Snuggles. I don't like taking orders.
basically Izuku, he look at her, she blushing after Aizawa says that. And Aizawa, he says, "You are." And he says, "Yeah, we are." And he says, "Are we done with the photo?" And after he says, "I'm done with the," "Are we done with the photo?"
Where's the fire? Maybe it'll start in your garage, Frank. Who's Frank? My name's Ross. I thought you knew that. Debbie make pie tonight? Who's Debbie?
Basically,
Hey, Frank. I'll alert the boy.
Izuku, he
Ethan? Benny's here.
Izuku basically,
Benny? You're early. That's a first. Also not here at all.
basically Izuku,
You and your grandma change your voicemail message in? I love the one where you two are doing impressions of each other.
basically Izuku,
Benny?
basically Izuku, he just says,
Get here quick, okay?
he grabs her hand and he walks out the door, and he sees like, as soon as he walks out the door,
Oh, wait. What are you?
when he walks out the door,
I'm your best friend.
basically, yeah,
I know you. I know you're good at stopping evil plans. I'm here to warn you to stay out of mine.
yeah, he just said that, and oh no, he rushes out he gets out the door, and he makes it to the hallway, and he's just holding her hand, and
What were you thinking?
Obviously, I wasn't.
basically three girls,
Grandma just yelling at me for selling her camera. Hey, you have an evil twin too.
basically Izuku, he
Did you take a photo of yourself with my camera?
Yeah, that's on my butt. And only for revenge.
Izuku, he basically,
Version.
There have been cultures in history.
basically Izuku, he says,
That camera can. Or at least it makes
Izuku basically, like three girls or four girls bombard Izuku. He says, "Izuku, will you go out with me?" And he said, he just walks past, and they say, "Hey, I know you hurt me," and they run up to him,
most importantly,
and they always try to stop him, but he just keep going. He's just walking with Mia, and he says, "Wait a minute, look at them, they're holding hands." And one of the girls say, "Are you dating that bitch?" He says, "Are you dating that bitch instead of me? Huh?" And Izuku stops. He looks at her and says,
Like when you ride?
You bought a go-kart?
Rented. But I'm thinking of stealing it.
Are you
basically,
No. But I am walking out of this town.
yeah.
If you want a shot at this, they better hurry up.
Izuku basically,
Is with the right foot.
Oh. Sounds one of the sweetest.
Izuku, yeah, I got it. He smacks the shit out that girl.
More weird.
He says, "Shut your bitch ass up. Say something about my girl again, and you gonna regret it."
Today's a big day. Got the photo booth all set up here.
And
So, you ready to make some memories?
None of these losers deserves a close-up. I'm gonna herd him into the gym for a group shot.
Well, we can't do that, but I sure do love
Yeah,
your big picture thinking.
yeah. Basically, basically, yeah. And she fell into the wall, and
If you hit me again, I'm gonna hit on you, but not in the way you think.
Hey. If you're gonna punch me, don't make it that fun annoying in the first place.
basically, he says, no, got it. Basically, Izuku, or not Izuku, but Midori. Oh my god, they started walking, and then after they started walking, she stopped, or they stopped. They stop at they just stop. They stop at her dorm. Oh no, they stop at the restroom, and he says, "I don't have to use the restroom really quick," and he's about to bring her with her, and she says, "Izuku, I can't go into the boys' restroom. I'm a girl," and he says, "I'm here with you, so it doesn't matter." So yeah, after he says it doesn't matter,
Mr. G? Okay. Happy time.
basically,
Oh, Hannah was making the other students cry, so I went ahead and took over. Where did she go? Oh, she went into the dark
Basically,
room, I guess. She was in an awful hurry to get that class photo that she made developed. Class photo? Oh, yeah. She must
Yeah.
have 100 students in there. I just wish she didn't have to threaten her
basically,
lives sometimes.
yeah, you know, and
She was.
basically she walked to the stall with Izuku, and Izuku
It's your camera.
with that jangling out, and she's like, she says, "Damn, it's huge." She says, "Damn, it's huge," and she looks away,
I'm Hannah. Destroy the negative.
and I think get on ping.
Ethan, I'm Hannah, and if you touch that case, I'll ruin you.
Hannah, this is for ruining my yearbook photo.
She says, she says, she says, yeah, got it. She says,
How did you know that one was the evil twin?
Evil twin? Really? I just came in here to eat. Slap her around a bit.
yeah, basically, and
It's all over.
he usually don't have girls on him, so he forgot that she was in here with him.
Just one. Or two. You know, I think evil Benny needs
Basically,
more
yeah.
Say, oh no.
And yeah, basically,
Camera, stolen souls. Like best friend in a room. This was a good
basically he turned around his, with his cock out. Yeah,
Or should I call you evil Benny?
he turned around with his dangling out,
Maybe I'm
and
normal.
it hits her, it hits her,
I don't
and he
think
said,
either of us is smart enough to make any sense
he
of that.
says, sorry about that. And
Only one of us is
she
the
says,
dishwasher.
no, it's fine.
If I cook you.
He put that in back in his pants, he zipped it up, washes his hands, get the dip out of there. And she like, well, no. And Zuko's embarrassed as hell, cause it's like, damn, I just rubbed my fucking dick on her. He's embarrassed as hell, and he's like, okay, focus. And I get to the room.
Should I leave you guys alone?
Actually, no. After he says that,
No problem. I'll just
they get back to the dorm, they go to sleep, no.
And
They cuddle. Yeah, they cuddle. And basically after they cuddle, Izuku after they cuddle, Izuku, he says, he says, after they cuddle Izuku and they wake up, no, they just go back to school again.
My twin really ruined me.
I'ma say
photos. We'll have to take them again.
Izuku like gazillion years old, and she just not turned 20. She just got out of college,
See you later, Ethan.
and she has glass. No. She would be fine with glasses though, like out. She would though. Should I? I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it. But basically, in these 2 years, Izuku or no.
So Hannah never had a crush on me. She was just really nice.
Yeah.
That can happen too.
Basically,
So you're saying that a girl can either be nice to you,
basically,
or mean to you when she likes you, or maybe she doesn't like you.
basically in them two
Just
times,
really nice.
in them two time skips, basically what happened was, basically what happened was Naruto, they was taking like showers together, cuddling, sleeping naked with each other, and stuff like that. And sometimes, nah, they ain't had sex. Trust me. Trust me. I will save that part for later. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so basically, we see Izuku.
A fresh bottle of cologne.
Do you have
Izuku.
absolutely no game?
And you do?
No, but my dad is currently on the agency.
And basically,
Unrestricted access to this. Be a man next.
Fine.
Izuku basically,
No, I'll pretend to be Sarah.
he says,
This is stupid.
Just do
Izuku says, sorry, the 3 times he says, looks like you're out of college.
it out, shop.
Well, no, he says, looks like we're out of college.
I was just wondering if maybe
As if it was their last day,
go see the new Galactic
and they
Attack
just
movie
graduated from
on Saturday.
college.
You and me
And he said, yeah.
on a date? No,
Hey, I thought you were supposed to be happy.
I am. What if she says no?
Yeah, and she kisses him. And what's her name? Mira. She get her memory back. Well, she remembered Izuku now.
You feel like I'm the only girl
And so did Eri.
be on
So they go to Earth. And they start searching for Izuku. And they see Izuku kissing another girl.
You and I have this connection.
And Eri runs up to them and says, Dad, how could you?
Thrown together.
I hate you. And Izuku, Dad, what the fuck? Who the fuck is Dad? I ain't got no kid. And he starts kissing her, and he looks up, and she turns around. Mia turns around, and so does Izuku. Or he looks up. Izuku looks up, and Mia turns around. Yeah, that's basically what happened. And
Okay.
basically
Cage thing arrived for that Warlock movie that you love. It's in the back.
and basically
The Cage of Eternity? Sweet! That thing's a chick magnet.
basically Izuku, he says, I think he says, the whatchamacallit, I think he says, I don't have a daughter, who the hell are you? And she says, remember us? And he says, it's you, I remember you, Eri, and you're Mira. And she tries to hug Izuku and say, why are you cheating on me? She goes to Izuku and she hugs him, or she tries to. And Izuku says, no, what are you doing? And she says, I thought we were a couple, remember? And he says, yeah, we were a couple before you invited another human to my world and cheated on him. And he said, and Eri said, well, what about me, Dad? And
What is this? This? Harmonio.
and she says, what about me, Dad?
It's supposed to tap your woman's primal nature.
And after she says,
First like team laundry bag, manly.
and he says, you're not my daughter anymore. Get out of my face.
Laugh in my
as they started, he held Mia's hand and started walking. And she says, Izuku says, well, no, not Izuku,
Nature, huh?
not Izuku, but Mina said, honey, maybe we should,
I want to increase your odds by 5,000%.
maybe we should.
And mine too.
He said, maybe.
Human. Stop. Excuse me, ladies? Do you know if the biology lab has any sea slugs?
Why don't you ask one of your loser friends?
I don't need the slug, it's just their urine.
He says,
Hard to believe this is all you get for just 10 slugs.
after he says that, she says,
Arm and neck. Slag or slag. Yeah.
she says,
Oh yeah. Entire team of chemists.
hey,
did the job.
she says, hey, Izuku, she says, hey, Izuku, maybe, oh no, I got it, she says, hey, Izuku, hi, or she says, hey, Izuku,
Don't worry. DJ Benny Beats
that was your
and that spells all
girlfriend?
my
And he said,
What are you talking about?
yeah, that was my ex-girlfriend. And he says, I wasn't your girlfriend, I was your fiance. And he says,
Potion number
where he was, but you're not anymore, so it doesn't matter. And after he says, so it doesn't matter, Izuku
Hey ladies, what do you say?
Izuku basically says,
Hey, nothing personal. I just don't hang out with dorks.
I just want to see if you want to say
Izuku basically says,
it's supposed to make you an undead.
he basically just says, where's this video? I'm gonna end it soon.
You want to try it?
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, please. Just one little spritz.
Alright, I got it. So Izuku basically says, he basically says,
Hey there, handsome.
You're talking to me. In school.
Izuku basically says, Izuku basically says,
Ethan, stop paying attention to your cut. You're gonna make your girlfriend jealous. Girlfriend? You know what I love? Oh, you're straight.
there, I got it. Izuku says,
I'm good at calculus.
I don't care if you're my girlfriend, fiance, it doesn't matter.
And your hair.
What matters is how you forgot about me and love me. And I don't love you anymore.
Look, you're skinny
Simple
little
as
arms.
that. And basically she says, what? And she gets her knees and starts crying. And he says, Mina stops and says, Izuku, this isn't right.
Oops. Almost forgot. Here you go.
As she says, this isn't right.
What just happened? I kissed Eric.
After she says, this doesn't. After she says, this doesn't, oh, I got it. After she says,
One thing to say.
this doesn't,
I am a mega genius. I did it. I tapped the love center of their brains and now they
he says, oh, she says, this isn't right, Nizuku. He stops and says, what do you mean? He says, she,
It'll happen to you too soon.
I don't think it's fair.
I've kissed a girl before. Cousins don't count. Dude, I told you I didn't know, okay?
He says,
Hey, baby. Hey, Ethan. Your shirt looks so great.
he says, oh, sorry, that's yours.
No, it's great.
Whew. Okay, Izuku says, as he says, they forgot about me and stuff like that. Well, that's what he says, basically. He says, so it doesn't matter. And
Is it about that potion?
Basically,
Nothing.
I need to know what your favorite color is.
basically,
Green Lantern green?
I do! Do you want me to dress up as your
Basically.
favorite superhero?
No. Your normal
basically
clothes are fine.
Izuku,
Okay. Do you know what Benny's favorite food is? Because some girls in my gym class have a huge crush on him
Basically.
and they want to surprise him.
basically Izuku,
Peanut butter cup pizza?
Weird.
Do you maybe want to go out on Saturday night?
he says,
Of course. Ethan, I love you. And I
Basically.
finally realized I always have. See?
basically Izuku says,
Okay. Well, I'm off to get us some matching cardigans.
basically Izuku, sorry, let me focus. Izuku, he says, Izuku basically says, Izuku basically says, he says, basically he just say, why do you care, Mia? And he says,
Excuse me? That's fine. Can I go to the bathroom?
after she says,
No.
Okay.
after she says, after she says, after she says, after he says, why do you care? He says,
Some of you have
no,
very
she says,
well thought
well,
out papers. However, there are exceptions to the rule, and I would like to talk about this paper in particular.
he says, he says,
Hugs and kisses from the cheerleading squad. Nice.
Well, here's my gift to you. Next time,
basically,
try reading
Izuku.
Pride and Prejudice. You'd be amazed how much you don't have to make up. Like the part
Let me stop
about
talking.
aliens.
Okay, focus.
I'm
Okay,
gonna
basically
have to assign you a
Izuku,
study partner.
he says, why do you care? And she says, well, I care because I don't feel like it's fair.
Dismissed.
And he turns around and says, but I love you. And he says, Izuku, maybe we should we should take a break. And you should think about going out with your old girlfriend. And
We made these ourselves.
after she says, after she says that,
Wednesday's still a few months away.
Oh yeah, we didn't want to be late, you know? Okay, bye, Ethan.
after she says that, Izuku, he's,
You guys
what?
are...
Why?
Come here.
I love you, and he says, well, but she says, no, he said, you don't love me, and she says, no, she clutches her account, she says, it's not like that, and he says, I understand if you don't love me, just say it. He says, it's fine, you don't have to say it. And he says, I'll go anyway. Love. He walks off and says, no, he walks off.
How's it hanging, bro?
Good. It's hanging good.
Yeah,
I was wondering, do you have any more of that magic potion left? Magic? What magic potion, dear?
GK?
hey mom. Basically, Izuku, basically,